The Samsung Galaxy Watch Active 2 is the latest smartwatch from Samsung with promising specs and innovative features similar to but better than the Watch Active 1. But is it different enough to compete with other smartwatches? With the touch bezel, a slim aesthetic design, uncontested watch faces, Samsung's cutting-edge health tracking technology, and many more features packed into this slim aesthetic watch, this watch is easily in the running for best smartwatches of 2019. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Mike O'Brien, and like I said, this video is all about the Galaxy Watch Active 2, which was just released by Samsung only 6 months after the Active 1 came out. So clearly, Samsung was very excited to release this product. There are a lot of updates with it. Although it may look the same on the outside, there are some significant differences about this watch. So this video right here is going to be a very in-depth review of this product, as well as a tour of the features and the interface. And on top of that, I will be testing out the claims that Samsung made about this watch. So I want to start off by showing you guys what comes in the box. So of course this comes very similar to most Samsung fashion, a small white box, a picture of it on the front, a nice shiny logo right there. You have the manual on the inside of the lid there, then you have your watch, and inside the little middle thing right there is the charger. So that's actually all they give you. They give you the charger, the watch, and a manual. You get nothing else. So looking at the actual watch itself, there are several different versions you can get. So unlike the Watch Active 1, you can get LTE with this one if you want, and you can also get the 44mm watch or the 40mm watch. So I have the 40 right here. They're both very similar watches though, and very similar functions for both of them. And I'll pop up the colors on the screen right now to show you just some different options you have. Now, getting into an actual physical tour of this device, you'll see that it does have a very soft rubbery strap right there, so a 20mm strap. It's very, very comfortable. I have no complaints about that whatsoever. Then you'll see the watch itself is a little bit different on the back, because on the back, they do now have ECG capabilities and they have a better heart rate sensor. So this, unlike the last one, has 8 photodiodes on there. I'll talk more about that later on, why that's more accurate. Then on the front, you'll see that we have a 1.2-inch screen. It's 360 by 360 pixels of Super AMOLED screen. Honestly, you can see this in the brightest daylight ever or in a dim setting. Under the screen, of course, like most of watches like this one, there is an ambient daylight sensor. So the screen's really good. The watch weighs 26 grams, so it's honestly really, really light considering the amount of power that's packed into this little watch. There are 2 buttons on this watch. So the bottom button is your home button. You press it once, it brings you home. Press it again from the home screen and it opens up your app drawer. Then we also have, you can double press it. It'll open up whatever app you want, or, I have like media player opening. You can press and hold it and that'll, bring you the power menu. You can power down your watch. Then the top button is your back button. You can double press it to just go back twice, or you can press and hold that and it'll open up Samsung Pay. So the buttons are very similar to what they were on the Galaxy Watch Active 1. Then one really, really cool difference about this watch, one of the things I think is, probably the biggest feature and most exciting feature about this watch right here is the touch bezel. So a lot of people really liked the original Galaxy Watch made by Samsung, how it had the rotating bezel. So a mechanical bezel you could turn around, and it made it so much easier to just navigate through the entire watch. It's similar to the rotating crown on like the Fossil Gen 5 or the Apple Watch. The Galaxy Watch Active 1 didn't have that. So this right here has a touch bezel where you can go around the bezel very easily, and it has a haptic feedback, so it kind of clicks is what it feels like, and it feels very natural, very useful. It almost feels like a mechanical dial right there. Then we have a microphone on the right, and on top we have a barometer. Now on the left side we have a speaker, which I will test out later on in the video to show you how loud it is and how clear it is. But regardless, this enables the watch to do a lot more than you could have done with the Galaxy Watch Active. So one of the things it can do, of course, is have Bixby talk to you, so actual verbal responses. But you can also make phone calls with the watch now, which is a very exciting upgrade if your phone is in a different room or if you have the LTE version.
All right, so just testing outside. This is me with speakerphone on my phone, and then we're going to switch over and see what the audio sounds like on my watch. All right, so here's me talking to my watch. Again, the same distance from my phone. We're going to test out how good the microphone is on this watch. All right, so now we're testing out the audio on the watch. This is what the speaker sounds like when you're in a phone call.
So a few specs about this watch. It is water resistant up to 50 meters. They recommend you don't go scuba diving or surfing with it. I'll definitely go surfing with it anyway though. And then this also has Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and GPS. The one I have is not the LTE version. You can get one that has LTE, and there are several other sensors on board as well. This has ECG coming soon, so you can have your electrocardiogram measuring your heart eventually. but for now it just has the heart rate sensor. This has a 247 milliamp hour battery, and I will be testing that out later on in the video to see how long that actually lasts. Then lastly, we have 4 gigabytes of storage on this watch, which is not a ton, but it's enough that you can have music on here and you can go for a run with your earbuds and your watch and just leave your phone at home. So a quick little aside here, in case you're wondering, I have the Watch Active 1 and the 2 right here. I will be wearing them side by side on my wrist, again, looking like an absolute fool in public doing this, but I'll be doing it for you guys to show you what they're like side by side, make a full comparison video for you. So if you are interested, make sure you go down and click the subscribe button and the bell icon so you don't miss that video. So now let's test out Bixby and test out the speaker to see how well that actually works. Hi Bixby. What's the weather in Denver, Colorado?
In Denver, Colorado, it is partly cloudy and 72 degrees right now.
So she sounds a little bit like a robot, but overall that's actually pretty impressive how quick it was for Bixby, and the volume is decent. Hi Bixby. What's the square root of pi?
It's around 1.7724.
So getting into the watch interface right now, just a brief tour of that, you'll see that there is some very unique watch faces, and I'll show you some more later on in the video. But if you swipe to the right, this will bring you all of your widgets. Instead of swiping through them, you can also use the watch bezel right there and swirl around it, and you can have like your sleep widgets, your heart rate, you can have the weather popping up, and there's a lot you can do. Within your heart rate, or within any other widget for that matter, you can tap on it and it'll bring you and show you a little bit more about that. Again, you can easily navigate by swirling around the bezel to scroll up or down, and the entire time it has that haptic feedback where it clicks or kind of vibrates on your wrist. So if we go the other way, you get into your notifications, so you can have Snapchat popping up, you can have any notifications from your phone will pop up on here if you allow them to. Of course, not everything has to. So if you swipe down from the top, you'll have your quick settings right here, and I really do like these quick settings. So you have, night mode right there, so it doesn't wake you up when you're sleeping. You can change the brightness. You can go to do not disturb, always on display, which I usually leave off because it does kill your battery if you leave it on. Then right here, you can change your ringtone volume or different volumes on the watch. So you have media, you have notifications, and Bixby voice. If you want to change the volume, that's where you do that. Then going across, you can go into theater mode. You can have a flashlight right here, which basically turns your watch to full brightness. I always like underwater mode, and I'll point that out right here. And essentially, if you're swimming, you won't have any false touches on the watch or false presses, which is very nice. And then what you do is press and hold the home button, and once you do that, it actually ejects water. As you can kind of hear that sound right there, that's very interesting. That's how they get the water out of the speaker, by kind of forcing it out with the high-pitched sound. So that's basically all you have across the top. Of course, there are many other settings you can do with this. You can go and find your phone. I like that one, and I've shown you guys that before, where essentially you press that, even if your phone's on silent, it'll make it ring, and you can find out where it is. So if you go to the app drawer from the home button right there, you can actually use the touch bezel and swirl around and navigate very easily, similar to what you might have done on the Galaxy Watch original or any of the other Galaxy Watches. And I really do like having this feature on here, having the touch bezel where it's a small thing that's not mechanical, you don't see it, but it clearly functions very similarly. Now there are many apps you can get on here. Samsung apps work best, but other apps that are third-party apps tend to not really work that well, so I generally avoid them. So next I want to give you guys a tour of the app. You will need 2 apps with this, like most other Samsung devices. So Samsung Health gives you all the analytics from your workouts and your day and your exercising and everything like that. Galaxy Wearable is going to be how you change the settings and really customize your watch. So looking at the Galaxy Wearable app first, you can change what notifications you get, and you can go through this and change a whole bunch of different things. Some things I really like. First of all, I want to point out that when you get this, don't be alarmed, the touch bezel is not enabled right away. So you have to go to advanced settings, then you go down to touch bezel and turn that on. I don't know why it comes disabled. That seems like one of the really key features of this watch, but regardless, it does. Now, if we go down, you can set an SOS, you can add some content to your watch, so pictures and music. The 4 gigabytes of storage on your watch, you will be transferring everything from your phone in the app right here. Now going down, you can set up Samsung Pay and Bixby right here. I recommend doing both of those. Samsung Pay will require you to have a PIN though, of course, which makes sense. You don't want anyone taking your watch and spending your money, but regardless, it's something that you want to know when you set that up. Then if you go over to watch faces, this is really where it gets interesting, and this is what I really like about the Galaxy Watch Active 2. So some of the interesting things about the watch faces right here, the first one is if you go over to this one right here that you can see, and then you go to customize, you can actually change this to match whatever you're wearing on any given day. So you tap on the camera button, and then I can just take a picture of whatever I want. So I'll just take a picture of what I'm wearing right now. And then you choose what part of the picture you want, so your shirt, for example, and then it'll pick stuff to match whatever you're wearing. And then there are several different options, so 6 different designs here using the colors from what you're wearing. Of course, I'm wearing a white shirt right now, extremely boring, but I do this a lot of other days and it'll look really good. Secondly, if we go over to an analog watch, so let's say this one, for example, and we go to customize and you go down, you can change the ticking sound on or off. So because this has a speaker, something I really think is pretty neat about this is if you have an analog watch face, you can have a ticking whenever you look at the watch. So it makes it feel a little bit more like a classic watch. Could get annoying because some of the analog watch faces don't let you turn it on or off and it's just always on. The live one right here, so you go to customize that and there's several different live wallpapers where you lift up your watch and it moves around. The last watch face I think is really interesting is the classic series. Now when you use any of these, you can actually change the angle of the watch and you'll notice that it shines differently as if it was actually a metal back and like it was a real analog watch. So the battery life of this watch, in 6 hours I lost about 28% of this watch, so you could probably last about 2 days with this watch if you're using it. Obviously, if you're using it non-stop for 24 hours, it could probably die. And there's a lot of variability here. You can change what you have on, always on display, GPS, Bluetooth, whatever you have going on. You can make this watch last maybe 3 days or as little as 1 day. So let's talk about the pros and cons of this watch. Some of the pros, I really like how there are different sizes for this watch and different options. So you can get LTE, not LTE, bigger or smaller. Makes it more useful for anybody interested in a watch. Secondly, I think the bezel is a huge fix on Samsung's part from the Active 1. And I think this is a way a lot of watches will eventually start to head. So having fewer moving parts on a device obviously means there's less to break. So we also have ECG, which is coming soon. Kind of a con that it's not out right now, but I probably will make a video about it when it finally does come out on this watch. So make sure you check out that video. If it's not out yet, make sure you go down and subscribe and click the bell icon so you don't miss that video when it does come out. Other pros, I like that this does have auto tracking on it. Of course, a lot of the Samsung devices do have that, but now you can auto track swims as well as runs and walks and whatever else they could do before. There are tons of workouts on this. You have like 39 or so workouts you can do. So pretty much anything you want to do, you should be able to work out with this. If you want to go backpacking or yachting or sailing or whatever it is, it's probably on this watch. So next, the watch faces are something that are extremely impressive to me. I love how you have all the different options for things that look more realistic, things that kind of move around a little bit, things that are brighter, things that are dimmer. So there should be a watch face for anybody with any style. And if there's not, you can always use the customized one where you take a picture of whatever you're wearing and your watch automatically matches you for the day. Some of the cons, this one's not a con for me, but I could imagine about 50% of the population would be upset that this does not have female tracking, so I don't know why they didn't get on the game with that one. Pretty much everyone else has that in the watch industry. Another con, only 4 gigabytes. I don't want to be too whiny right here. 4 gigabytes is great, but it seems like if they could fit maybe a little bit more in there, I would like to have more music on here when I'm running, but regardless, 4 gigabytes is it's good for me at least. So one last complaint, which might sound a little nitpicky here, but some of the analog watch faces that I said have ticking, some of them don't allow you to turn that off, which is kind of annoying if you want to look at your watch and you don't want a ticking sound. But regardless, I guess analog watches don't let you turn that off ever. So overall, guys, I think this watch is extremely exciting. I'm very impressed with Samsung's engineering on this, and it is a good sign that it shows that they were listening before to the complaints from the Watch Active 1. So adding things like a speaker and a touch bezel and many other features of that sort, I think are a huge step in the right direction. I would argue that this could be one of the best watches in 2019. Of course, there are different people that want different things out of watches, but for me, this one actually might be the perfect watch. So comment down below what features you like about this watch, or if this is not your favorite, what features you like about a different watch that you maybe like better than this one. Guys, thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time.